Wait. Hello. There we go. Hi everyone. Welcome to the New Year stream. Happy New Year. I've got um I've got my fancy little cup here. I decided to just start the year full vintage because why not? I think in 2021, after I feel like 2020 taught us with being at home all the time and stuff that we don't need to be so worried and self-conscious all the time. So at least for me, so I'm just going full vintage, going full blown me here. So I've got sparkling apple cider in here. If you're watching this either live or later, I recommend you get yourself something nice to drink. Tea also works. So I've got my sparkling apple cider. Do I have to take a sip of each one of them for it to work? I also have my tea with my lovely Goddess of Limbo mug that I'm really excited about. And now if I can show you. I got myself that one when I finished finished my draft. So that, and I got some water. So happy new year 2021. Oh my goodness. So I want to do this stream because last year I did like a whole big goal setting thing, and this year I didn't quite feel like I had the energy for it, partially because the year was so much and so stressful, and there were so many ups and downs, and I feel like really processing that takes time for all of us. So now suddenly going into a new year and bringing in that energy, it's a bit harder to conjure, I feel. So I wanted to sit down with all of you and kind of do it together. And I'm going to guide you through a couple of segments. So we're going to reflect on last year, on what we learned, on what we're grateful for, and then we're going to go and look at a couple of areas for the new year. And without too much pressure, just gently think, okay, where are we at? What did we actually experience, and what lovely things can we visualize in our future? So that's what we're going to be doing today. Hi there, Spence. Nice to see you. Oh my goodness, I love the hat, and yes, for masks. Masks and profile pictures are just making me happy at the moment. So hi, good to see you. And my lovely wife is also here. Coffee is a great way for me to start the year. Coffee is a great way for you to start anything, sweetie. Wonderful. Okay, so what we'll be doing, I've kind of broken it down into segments, and we'll be doing sprints in the way that like I'll be putting on a timer, and we'll follow along while writing that, but they're not going to be like 20-minute writing sprints or anything, because I want these to be thought-provoking prompts, and let's start writing down a couple of things. But if you feel like you have more to write, if you're either watching this later, pause the video and write as much as you want, or if you're watching this now with me and live, which thank you, lovely to see you, then just start it, write down as much as you want right now, and then you can come back later to those prompts and fill them out more. So we're gonna start with the first segment called lessons. I'm not the greatest at titling things, so a little on the nose. But at first, I kind of want to talk about want us to reflect on what we can learn from 2020. Now, this year was very much a test and a challenge to the whole idea that everything happens for us. Like, it didn't feel like it happened for us. So much doesn't feel like it. But I've kind of chosen this year personally to really hone down on that belief, and I can highly recommend it, because if we believe that, okay, things are going in our favor, there is something good that will come from us. It takes a lot of the fear away, and the fear I find quite paralyzing when it comes to decision making and motivation. So yeah, I think it's very beneficial for us to try and practice believing that, yes, there is something good that's coming from this, and yes, this is happening for us in some way. And one great way to do that is to look back at really difficult things that happened, or things that felt really difficult at the time, and then seeing what actually came from them. So, for example, after graduation, I went through like a bit of a drifting, confusing time myself, and we had visa issues. I life just didn't quite go as planned immediately, and I was kind of very I was very down about my acting journey not going the way it went, but it really led me to my writing journey. So while a lot of a lot of those circumstances didn't feel like they were going in my favor, looking back on it, they were. And I think that's a lovely lovely thing to start with for a year like this. So our very first prompt is pick something that sucked in the moment. I'm sure you can find a thing or two. I'm sure something something might have happened. And let's think about what good came from it. So picks a difficult thing, write down, I'm just looking down a little bit because I have my notes here. Write down what you learned from it. And so it can be either something good that came from it or just something that you learned from it that you think you'll be able to take into the new year. So let's do that first. And we're going to do that for 5 minutes. Let me see. I'm going to try and wait. I think I need to. I'm trying out a new timer this time. So on Instagram, you won't be able to see that. I'll just tell you when the time's up. But I kind of want to get a bit of a nice, let's see, this says liquid egg sensory timer, which sounds kind of nice. So um, that's going to sound really weird on Instagram. Yeah, we're going to write to the liquid eggs now. I did just have a vegan omelet, so, sort of fitting. Let me see. Oh, is it starting already? Is that how it starts? Sorry, I probably should have tried this out a bit more first. Okay, I'm just gonna assume that the green is not very pretty, is it? Huh. Okay, let's try this one. Hang on for technical difficulties. Oh, this one's nice. All right, let's go. 5 minutes, find something what was difficult, write something down that you learned from it, and how it benefited you in some way, either as I said, okay, I'm smarter now, I'm wiser now, I can take that with me for the new year, or actually something really good came from it despite how difficult it was in the moment. All right. Oh, oh, it's giving me some big inspirational music here. That was our first sprint. Okay, that was it apparently. That's my cat. Hello, if you joined in between. First of all, if you'd like to share any of the things that you're writing down during the prompts and with the prompts, please go ahead and do so. I'd love to discuss it, but also this is sort of a personal and private thing, so I totally understand if you don't want to share anything. Hi, Crows. Hi, Cedo. Cedo wants to say hello to you. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. We're just having sharing our New Year's energy here. So if you want to use it for something else, that's totally fine. As I said, with the prompts too, if you want to come back to them and do them later, you're also very welcome to. One moment, I'm gonna see if I can get that kitty. No, but I bet someone else can get that kitty. Please. I know you're watching on at least one channel. Um, So yeah, the second one that I want to do is also still in the same segment. So we just kind of focused more on something that sucked and how it actually turned out to be a good thing. Let's now look at 1 to 3 lessons we learned from 2020. Now it could be that you already did a little bit of that in the last in the last prompt. 1 second, can you take him with you, please? Not that I don't want my kitty around, but he got a new toy for Christmas, and now just every morning and nighttime and basically anytime he's not sleeping is like, let's play with a new toy. And it's a fun toy, but also, other things. um oh, great. What sucked was starting the year with being in the hospital for a week. Oh, I'm sorry. Lesson: losing a lot of blood can actually kill you, and sometimes blood cells attack themselves. I'm fine now. I'm glad you're fine now. That sounds like a really difficult time, and yeah, I'm glad you made it through that, and that's definitely something to to be grateful for. But also quite the experience. I can definitely relate. It was a difficult health year, so you do kind of get. I feel like the experience can shape you in like positive or negative way, and I personally think there's definitely a lot of positives to get from it. But I'm glad you're here. Yeah, for me, well, I had mentioned in my Instagram post yesterday. I'm going to mention it here on the stream too because I'll probably have to skip next week's video. We're in between jobs currently again, and that happened several times last year. But honestly, every time it kind of happens, we ended up in a better situation. So looking back on it, especially to the beginning of the year, it's I am grateful for it, because if it hadn't happened, then you get stuck in situations. So I think that we definitely gained a lot from it. So that was kind of what I wrote down. um, yeah. Okay. So for the second prompt in this segment, and then we're going to go to full on gratitude. Gratitude's a really important thing for my New Year's resolutions, because I do feel like it makes a really big difference to focus on all the positive things that happen. That doesn't mean that you should neglect your negative emotions ever, or the negative experience, or how hard they were. But if you focus only on them, you'll start expecting more of them. And if you start expecting more of them, it adds a lot of stress to your life, and you might miss some opportunities that would come up otherwise. So for me, I I do a lot of gratitude practice, and it really, especially I honed in on it last year, and it really changed my life. So I kind of want to share that with you all too. But first of all, let's do another 5-minute one. Just write down 3 things, 3 lessons that you learned in 2020, and how you're planning to incorporate them into 2021. So, one of the things I learned was that time isn't quite as rigid and rushed as it used to feel for me. So, I don't want to take anything ahead, but stuff like that as an example. So I would write something like that down and see how I would then use it for the new year. Oh, hey Jaded. Happy New Year to you too. Well, thank you for stopping by. Stopping by. Once again, you're happy to return to this later, and it's nice for you all to drop in general. Thankfully, it was before COVID, was in Canada, so it was before restrictions, everything. Oh, I'm so glad about that. Yeah, I was really lucky that I got COVID right at the beginning too. So like it's back then things were a little easier, but that's a good moment to say we're not quite in the gratitude segment yet, but to say that we're really grateful for all the healthcare workers, and if anyone's watching that, thank you so much. Thank you for keeping us all healthy and not healthy, but for caring for us. And thank you for your service. All right. So for the second segment, write down one to three things, lessons that you learned in 2020, and how you're planning to incorporate these into the new year. All right. How do I? Oh my. Okay. 3 minutes and start. There we go. 5 more minutes. It doesn't give the countdown now? Why does it not give the countdown? Oh well, it's nice to watch. I'll let you know when the 5 minutes are over. Okay, unmute the mic. There we go. So that was the second one, and that was the first segment. I hope you found a couple of lessons. I feel like this is a good thing to think about, over the week as well. Because yeah, there's there's, as I said before, there's a lot to process in the past year. So I think that's why it's really good to sit down and reflect, even that feels overwhelming. So don't take these as like these need to be the lessons that need to be done now. It's just starting to think about it and thought provoking. Um, one of the things I wrote down actually, and it was kind of funny because my Instagram live was having troubles in between, is that I don't need to be perfect to start something. And in the last year, I really started a lot of things. I started a podcast. I I was trying to figure out my creative business. I started a YouTube channel, and I this whole learning curve thing. It to me, it always feels as if it's like if you know how the end product looks like, you shouldn't even have the learning curves. But I learned this year that no, learning curves are fine and they're allowed, and we're figuring it out. So that was definitely a lesson I learned. As I said, if you want to share one, jump so high. I'm sorry, was it the audio? Did I jump? Whoop. All right. So yeah, that was the first segment. Now let's move on to gratitude. Oh, and I said in the Instagram live, I think this is going to probably take around an hour and a half. That's not what I said in the Instagram live. I said 2 hours, but I think it's going to be about an hour and a half. I planned out about an hour's worth of time journaling, and as you can see, I'll be chatting a little in between and talking a little in between. So yeah, just so you know to plan in your time. Hope you got your lovely drinks here. Um, and we'll start with gratitude. So, um, let me just go over my notes real quick. Right. So the reason why I'm preaching to you all about how important gratitude is because especially with the news cycle and with all the doomsday news and everything, it's very easy to believe that the world is a very dark place, and that people are inherently bad, and it dismisses so much goodness around you, and it sort of obscures your vision to those things. So to keep seeing and one of my affirmations at the moment is to trust in the good of people and the good of the world, and that gets so hard sometimes, but that's why we need to practice that. And I think gratitude is a really good tool for that, because well, things are very uncertain for me again right now. I don't even know how the next week's gonna go, but I'm sitting here at my wife's desk with my beautiful Christmas tree, and I had a lovely breakfast, and I have a tea here, and those things really matter. And oftentimes we don't really notice these things until we lose them. But if we notice them and if we practice noticing them throughout the days and throughout our weeks, then we'll start feeling richer and richer. And those that's going to I personally believe that that's going to bring more richness into our lives. And that's why I think this segment is super important. um oh, hey Angel, happy new year. That's a really cute what's the word again, profile pic. It's very cute. I came in at the right segment. I started a gratitude journal a few weeks ago, and I'm trying to keep it up. Oh, that's wonderful. Yes, that is such a great idea. Um, I've got my gratitude bracelet. I noticed that for journaling, it's also super helpful, and it's really good to see it on paper. But I noticed for myself that I sometimes have trouble getting myself to it. So I got myself this bracelet, and what I do is for each beat. So throughout the day, I go through, and for each beat, I say something like, "Thank you for the chair. Thank you for my food. Thank you for my apartment. Thank you for my wife," seeing as I see her there right now. And it gives you kind of a boost, especially when things are kind of difficult. It gives you a quick boost throughout the day. So, but a journal is really wonderful, because when you practice, when you really put it down in words, you sit with it a little longer. So it really, gets to you, and that is wonderful. So, let's go into the third prompt. Um, And the third prompt is going to be a longer one. I wrote down 10 minutes. 10 minutes might actually be a little too long here. Let's do 7. And once again, you can add to this later on in your life. I almost said in your life. In your life, you can add on more. Yeah, I hope so. But in your day, but just for now, let's start with 7 minutes and list all the things that you're grateful for that you have received from others in this past year. So we're going to separate that into 2 sections, into our own accomplishments. I'm sorry, Instagram. I was totally slapping my mic there. Um, and into our own accomplishments and what we're grateful for and thanking ourselves for. And we're starting right now in what we received from others. So that can be anything from, um, the people that were still bringing packages and delivering letters, essential workers, and it can be smaller things, in your family. That wasn't small. I don't know how to rank these things, but just to throw some ideas out there, and it can be bigger things like, okay, I don't know, the help I received from a friend or things like that. So we're going to take 7 minutes and really think about all the things that we were given in this past year. So as you can see, I switched timers. I got a little like I like the idea of a nice sensory timer, but I was getting a little frustrated about the whole. Um, there we go. About how to actually see the timer and bring it up. So we're just gonna go with the regular blue one. And if you're on Instagram, I don't know how to do a timer there. Can you do a timer there? Not sure, but I'll just tell you when to start, when to stop. So we're gonna do 7 minutes. And are we all ready? Got your pens? Got your brain? Got your heart? Okay, let's start. And go. All right. Just as I finish the page, I might have to pause here for a second to see if I can charge my phone. But anyway, so how did that go? I personally, it's kind of funny because I did this really big journal class, sort of like a self-development class in April last year, and what was supposed to be, I don't know, like 2 hours exercises took me days. So I'm just starting here and I'm like, all right, I'm in April. Oh, the timer's up. So that's why I'm saying feel free to come back to them later. I'm definitely not going to be done. I'm sort of trying to hit the middle ground here and how long you all might take and how how quick you are so that you don't just sit there and twirl your thumbs. Um, but yeah, it's kind of amazing because I was one of the things I wrote down. I traveled to Germany in February last year. This last year. It's last year now. Yes, last year. Right before COVID started. So and I was just thinking about all the people, that are involved in that keep you safe, all the flight attendants and the baggage people. And I worked for an airline for a while, so I know all like the background stuff. So if you want to go into this and really feel grateful, I think you can go really deep into this, and there's so many people that are actually supporting your existence when you think about it. And it's a really beautiful thing because especially nowadays, and especially with quarantine and the whole isolation, it's very easy to feel alone. But everything you do and everything we do is supported from so many other people. Like I'm currently live, and that's happening through the internet and through phone company and through the social media companies. And there's people there that constructed that. And yes, there's issues everywhere, but we are constantly supported in it. Give me one moment after that. Hello, do you think you can find my charger? Um, I don't know why I'm yelling. She's probably watching this, so I might check in a second. Um, all right, Angelie, that went really well. Almost finished my page and divide into two columns. I might add a prompt like this to my gratitude journal. Yeah, it's a lovely, lovely little thing, and it kind of gets us out of ourselves a little bit too, in terms of okay, what are we doing? What have we accomplished? What are we like? Because I think when we're only focused on ourselves, it kind of can increase our pressure on ourselves a little bit more. So when we really see how much other people do for us as well, that charger, like getting us chargers when the phone is dying, isn't that wonderful? Um, it's yeah, it can release some of the pressure, and at the same time it's super important that we also acknowledge everything that we're doing and for ourselves and for other people, because that's another thing that can be easily to neglect. Especially I feel like we're either more focused on what others are doing for us or what we're doing, and it's really good to practice the balance of those two. So that brings us to our next prompt, to prompt number 4, which is honor your own accomplishments. I've done this for a couple of years now, and I love this part because it always makes me so excited to look back and see what I actually did. So for the next one, I want you to list all of the things that you did in 2020 that you're proud of. And when we think of that briefly, there's probably, a couple of big things that come to mind. But when we break it down into the little bits, there's so much more that we actually did. I mean, we're sitting here, we're kept ourselves alive, we took care of ourselves, and there's so many little bits throughout the month that we actually accomplished and the steps that we took for the bigger goals too. So take some time with that, and yeah, I think I'm going to give us the full 10 minutes for this one. Just sit down and really go over month by month and think about all the great things that you actually accomplished, big and small, like the really small things too, and give yourself some credit here. So I'm going to start this, and At the same time, after I start this, I'm going to try and get the phone plugged in because I didn't know how much energy it would take. So there might be a quick interruption here. There shouldn't be on YouTube. Awesome. Wonderful. And go. Woo! Hey, you rock. You rock. Who's awesome? You're awesome. All right. How does it feel? I always love doing this. I feel like it boosts your company. It boosts your own company. It boosts your own company. It boosts your confidence, and yeah, it makes you feel better about yourself. I kind of it's funny because when I wrote down the prompt and how I usually do it is I very much focus on external things. So I write down stuff like applied for that job or like went to these and these editions and this kind of stuff. Wrote this many words, and I think that is super important because as we all are constantly aware about this whole pressure of productivity, but also this feeling of like you're not doing enough. It's so good to look at those very measurable things and write them out and list them to see how much you're actually achieving of that. But today, I'm going to go back and still do that because I think that is a very important thing to do, especially at the end of the year. Although probably at the end of each month it would be good too. So, Leah, did you hear that? Yes, I heard that. Okay, I'm going to do that later. um, but this time I actually focused more on internal growth because I feel like I don't think you can go through 2020 and not experience internal growth, and that's also really important to note. And it's not really as easily measurable, but well, one of the things I wrote down, for example, is that I'm really proud of myself how much more socially aware, like social justice and aware of issues and things like racism and ableism I've become this year. um, and that is also really great progress that you can't quite measure as easily, and I think opportunities like this are really valuable so that we do sit down and do not measure it but acknowledge it. um, Anjali, I complete a little more than a page with two columns. My first thought at the beginning was I survived. Yeah, honestly, yeah, I kind of wrote something similar because yeah, that really is a feat in 2020, and it sounds so dramatic, but it's absolutely true. And I don't think, I mean, none of us, or most of us at least, have not lived through such unprecedented times, and I very much felt like this year was such a, well, if things were to turn upside down, where would you be? How would you handle it? We joke about things like zombie apocalypse, like what would you do? But this year actually did give us um challenges that are historical and in such a grand that you in such grand scale that you do actually have to sit down and say, wow, I'm in the situation. How would I react now? And we're all here and we're here trying to do something good for ourselves. And that is such an enormous feat. And that is such a, yeah, in these historically unprecedented times, we still took time to check in with ourselves. We still took time to create. We're here, we're breathing and living and loving. And that is so wonderful. So, I'm really glad you wrote that down because it really is a great feat by itself. Wow, that's a really good reminder for me because I hadn't even thought about expanding my social awareness. Yeah, I know. It's see, like when I was doing my writing progress, my writing journey video 2 weeks ago, I realized like how much I actually how many more nuances I understand now, and that's something that we do need to recognize. Like we're constantly growing as people. I mean, you might not, and that's a choice. But I think if you're here, I believe in us all. I think we are all of us are constantly growing, and it's it's not something that we should, sit down and be like, haha, I am such a good person. But it is important that we acknowledge that we are taking the right steps and educating ourselves and growing there because if we don't do that, if we only approach it from a sense of guilt, I think it can become inauthentic very easily. So wonderful. Okay, that was segment 2 for gratitude. Now that we're really very much focused on positive things, I do want to also acknowledge a little bit that this was a difficult year. So segment 3 is letting go. Um, and Oh, I didn't quite. Haha, I forgot to set that up. I will still do that now. You know what? Uh, take, we're gonna take a 2-minute break just so I can set this up. Actually, with everything I have here. All right, I'll just tell you about it and we all are going to do that later. Cool? Cool. Okay. So for letting go, it's not as easy as just writing something down, especially with difficult things. But I personally do believe in the power of visual aid here for that and sort of rituals. So, one thing that my wife and I do is when we want to let go of something, we've got this very thick, sturdy kind of glass pot, and we put it on our windowsill, open the window, make sure that like everything is very safe with smoke and it's very high. And oh, oh, 1 second. Okay. Instagram just. Instagram just paused it. Um. All right. I'm gonna keep telling you while this is going. Haha. Haha. Multitasking is not really my thing, but um. Okay, I will do that in a moment. Yeah, so what we do is we write something down that we want to let go of. And I want you all to think about, I'm sure we can think of a lot of things, but one or two things that really weighed you down in the past year, or a mental state that you're trying to let go of. And we write down a piece of paper, put it in that glass pot by the window, big glass pot, so really it can't come out or anything. And then light it on fire and just watch a little piece of paper just burn away and let the smoke burn away. And in that moment, it's really good to take a deep breath and just let it out. And I know it's just a ritual, but it can hold such power because you're telling yourself it's a mental signal that you're saying, okay, this is a clear cut line. I'm stopping this now. I'm letting it go. So that's something that I highly encourage you to do very safely afterwards, because yeah, to release something. Um, and for this next journal prompt, though, I want you to think about a couple of things, and I want you to think about one state or one mental state, one thing more internally that weighed you down, and then think about what beliefs led you there. So if you have felt very stuck, that feeling comes from the belief that you are stuck and the belief that there's not a lot of opportunities and not a lot of things. So what we're going to do with for this first journal prompt in letting go is we're going to write down a couple of beliefs that were very negative and toxic in this past year. And then we're going to look at those and write down what the opposite would be. So, one thing I was talking about earlier about how everything kind of, it's very helpful to tell ourselves that everything is happening for us, that things are happening for our greater good, even if we can't quite see it yet. And the negative of that would be like, everything's against me. And that is something that can have a very toxic negative impact on your life. So think about what weighed you down and think about what thought led you there. It could be something like, everything's against me. And then think about what the opposite of that belief is. So that's a little bit of a vague one, but I believe that you can do it. I believe in you. So we're just playing with that. Make sure that you think of the negative one first, and then you go to the positive one, because otherwise you can mix them up. And for the positive one, we're just looking at the opposite right now. And if it feels unbelievable right now, that's okay. So yes, I'm going to do that. I'm going to take 6 minutes for that. Already. Oh, also, sorry I haven't been around. Left my laptop open, but I had some things I need to do around the house. No problem at all. Thank you for stopping by. And as I said, like, you can come back any moment. Any moment. you can back come back at a later stage and do these exercises. So we're gonna take 6 minutes, think about something we want to let go of, something that we might burn later safely, and what led us there, and what the opposite of that thought would be. Hey, brief interruption here. I'm very sorry. I just unplugged everything. Um, Please let me know if you can hear and see me. We theoretically still had a few minutes for this one, but I'm gonna put the timer back on. I can't believe that just happened. I was trying to get Instagram back on, and then this happened. Anyway, I'm very sorry. I hope you can all see me again. Please do let me know. Oops. What was it about perfection? It's okay. Can you hear me? Okay, great. Thank you so much. Okay, wonderful. All right. I'm gonna add on, I'd say 2 more minutes to this prompt. Let me just bring the timer back up. That's 2 minutes. Okay. Okay. My apologies. I've added 2 more minutes to this. I'm gonna try and get Instagram going again too now. And please keep working on the prompt. We're now joining back into with the whole YouTube stream. All right. Okay. So how did that go? It's kind of funny that when I was talking about letting go and about negative beliefs and things that are holding us back, that's when everything kind of broke. So technical difficulties, something to let go into 2021. 2021, still weird to say. So yeah, okay. This is sort of a very brief version of the whole working through some mindset troubles. But if you're interested in that, I can do a longer stream about that at some point. But for 2021, I think it's helpful to for us to take a second and see what has accumulated in the past year so that we can then clear that and go into 2021 with a bit of a fresh perspective and a fresh mindset for it. So okay, I hope we all have now. If you just joined, so it's fine. Pause the video, go do that real quick. I hope we all have now 1 or 2 beliefs that have weighed us down and the things that's there. So now for the next prompt, we're going to dismantle that a bit. And the thing is, those beliefs are often strong because they're based on fears that feel very grounded and that feel very proven. And what I've definitely learned last year is that we need to make the conscious effort to find arguments against it. So, in terms of anxiety, it's not recommendable if we just sit down and just argue with it. That's not good. But when we're having a calm moment and really, doing some reflecting and saying, okay, this is something I believe that really sucks how the world works, can we find arguments against it? Can we actually find a different logic that we can explore? So for the next prompt, I want you to look at that belief, that one or two, and I want you to come up with 3 strong arguments for the opposite of it. So if it's, everything works against me, the opposite of that would be everything is working in my favor. What are some arguments that can come from that? Well, I'm alive and doing well, and I'm currently, here. I have my agency, I have my thing. So I'm clearly not everything's working against me, because I don't know, I've been in a much worse state. So that would be an argument for that. Not maybe not the best argument. I'm still a little frazzled from the technical thing, but just sit with it and come up with 3 good arguments against it, and then really write down the more positive thought you want to choose instead. So that's kind of a thing. When we talk about choosing thoughts, it's for people that tend to have more anxiety and stuff, that can be very annoying to hear, because you don't really choose your fears. But the thing is, it's not about choosing the first thought, it's about choosing the second, and choosing sitting down, being like, okay, I'm acknowledging these, I'm hearing them. What else can I bring to the table? And those are the chosen thoughts that we talk about. So in terms of a positive thought, the opposite of that, what do we have? What are 3 great big arguments for that? Okay, great big. It doesn't have to be great big. We're just starting here right now. So what are 3 arguments for that? And what is one action you can do in this new year to affirm that? So if we're still going with the argument, with the example, which I'm not the happiest with, that I chose this example, but if we're still going with the example of everything is working against me, all right, we're now picking everything is happening for me. We find 3 arguments for that. Hey, I have a lot of things to be grateful for. I mean, we just wrote down a whole list of things we're grateful for. So clearly not everything is working against me. What can I do to affirm in this new year? What's one action I can take to see that things are happening in my favor? And that would be something like gratitude journal in this case. So that would be something like taking once a week 5 minutes to just sit down and be like, okay, these things happened for me this week, and they were pretty great, and they're happening for me. So that would be one action to take to affirm that. So this prompt seems a little bit more complicated. You got your setup. I know Instagram you just joined. That's okay again. Again, that's okay. Just think of something, a negative thought that's accompanied you last year a lot. Think of the opposite. Give 3 reasons why the opposite is true, and one action you can take to affirm that in this new year. So I'm gonna give us, I wrote down 5 minutes, but I think I'm gonna give us a little bit longer for that one. How about 6 minutes? Yeah, I think 6 minutes I get. I'm taking this timer now. It might not be the prettiest timer, but let's go. 1, 2, 3, and go. Why is it 4 minutes now? What? 6 minutes. Okay. Let me quickly change the timer to one that works a little better. You make it this. Okay. There we go. And if you're numbering them, this is prompt 6. All right. Okay. I think that was good. All right. So yay. Okay, that was segment 3, letting go. I'm recognizing for the Instagram people here. I'm not sure if this has a title, so maybe if you're just jumping in here and seeing me write, we're doing our New Year's journaling from YouTube. And yeah, so now that we've got this little bit of an new direction, it can be really this part really is more mindset work, and that might not be everyone's jam, but I very much recommend in the in the new years, in the switch to the new year, to just give it a try and see what that kind of little bit of positive thought that you can sprinkle in do for your everyday life. Now we're going to segment four, which is goals. So we went over what we're grateful for. We went over some reflections, some lessons from the past year, and now we're going to go into the new year, which we already went. We're here. What? Um, oh my! I hope you had a good start into the new year. It was quite emotional for me yesterday, and it was I have felt a surprising amount of relief when 2020 ended, and I feel like you can probably relate to that. So yeah, I'm excited for the new year. Let's start by talking about some goals. So for the next journal prompt, we're putting the goals into 3 different categories. We're thinking about as self, relationships, and career. Now, if I go into like a bigger journaling thing, it's kind of nice to break it down further and go into like money and like passions and that kind of thing. But I think for now you can put those in those like bigger subcategories. So we're going into self, relationships, and career. If you want to write, if you're writing along right now, maybe make some columns so that you have this as an overview. And as the next prompt, we're going to pick one goal for each category. So it's going to be a really quick thing, and just the highest priority in each thing. And we're going to write this. This is another kind of like a mindset trick that I really like. We're going to write this in in a way that this has already happened. So similar to how we did the gratitudes with I'm grateful for this and this, we're going to say thank you for that or thank you for this. So one of my biggest career goal for the new year is the publishing Goddess of Limbo, which will be happening in June. Most likely should be bear any catastrophes, it should be. So instead of writing I want to publish Goddess of Limbo, I'm going to write it as if I'm telling it to my future self. So thank you for publishing Gods of Limbo. And I like doing that because it gives you a bit of an accomplished feel already, and it makes everything seem just a little bit more accessible and doable. And that's important when we're trying to, set out these bigger goals for the year and wanting to believe that we can actually do them. Um, so for self, relationships, career, set one goal each. We're gonna do a quick 2 minute timer on that one. Oh my goodness, this timer. Is this gonna work? Is this gonna work? Okay, cool. We're gonna set a quick 2 minute timer, find one goal, and write it in a thank you or I'm grateful for phrasing. All right, and let's get started. All right. Do we have a goal for each one of these? Do you If not, that's okay. The next prompt is going to give us a little bit more time. So if you're uncertain about something, I feel like oftentimes there's a category or two that is easier for us and one that is harder. For me personally, career I like immediately always know, and then self needs a little bit more thinking, and that is good for us to notice because those are often the categories that we're more neglecting and that we really should be thinking about more. So if you have a career goal easily and don't quite have a goal for how you want to show up in your relationships in the new year, just take note of that, but no stress. Yeah, so for the next prompt, we're going to go over the why of why we want to achieve that. And that one, I did that. I learned a little bit more about that last year, and it really makes a great difference. Because if we look at a goal and we go like, of course I want that, it's gonna be great. It doesn't tell us as much about the motivation, and it doesn't tell us about the longevity of it. So I want you for the next prompt to really think about what it would mean to have that. How does it improve your life? And how does it improve other people's lives? Because especially when we go into very personal goals and we get busy and some other stuff comes up, it's easy to neglect them, or it's easy to dismiss them as not important. So when we bring in what it does and how it benefits other people, we are much more inclined to stick with them. So let's say you want to move your body more. That's a very classic in the US resolution. Now, say no to diet culture. Uh, we all body types are beautiful, and we don't want to go into this whole idea of, yay, New Year's diets. No. But let's say you want to move your body more for your mental health and your physical health. Um, it's it's sometimes easy to say that's more of a selfish goal, or we can dismiss that more, but we can look at it now and say, how would that benefit other people? Well, that would help me fill my own cup more, and I would be mentally more able and emotionally more able to support those that I love. So if I move my body more, I can show up more for to the people that I love, to my loved ones, and that makes a big difference. So that's why it's really good to sit down and really think about those whys a little bit deeper than just, well, then I'll get healthier. Okay, you'll get healthier. Then what? How does that better your life? So think about how it would better your life, um, how it would benefit your loved ones and those around you. And lastly, how it would actually feel to achieve that. So, because the thing is with goals, especially when we have goals like money or something, um, it sounds really great on the surface, but what we're actually after are feelings. We're after the feeling of ease. We're after, carefreeness and joy. And it's helpful if we actually separate that briefly from the goal and look at, okay, what are the feelings that we're after? So in this next prompt, I'm gonna give us 7 minutes, 8 minutes for each of the categories. Think about like, how would it benefit you? Like, how would it better your life? How would it benefit those around you and your loved ones? And how would it make you feel to achieve them? Once again, this is if especially if you're watching this in the replay, take as long as you need for this. I usually take much longer than like 8 minutes to go over that, but to keep the stream moving, we're gonna just do an 8 minute one for now. All right, and go. Nope, no, I for some reason it's not wanting to do this again. There we go, and go. It does. Please tell me if the mic here is still working. And for everyone who joined, we're in the goal section right now, in segment 4, and we're almost there. We're just got clear on how our goals will benefit ourselves and others. Please do let me know if the mic is working, if you can hear me well. Um, in the comments, preferably, because my mic made a weird sound. Okay, Instagram should be okay. And I'm just gonna assume that this is fine because I haven't heard any complaints. Okay. Yeah, so sitting down with this is I always like that because I feel like we become so much more aware of all like what our goals really mean and all the different impacts it's going to have. That's the point of the exercise. But yeah, I just started on one category. I write so much about this stuff. I think that's one of the reasons why I really need to carve out time for journaling, because I know that you know I get quite extensive with that. But yes, I recommend you do that. Honestly, if you have any New Year's resolutions, it's really good to sit down with them and actually think about how they make you feel and what feelings you're trying to get from them and what impact on your life and on others you are trying to get out of them. Because then if you don't quite get them, or if you fail at the resolution, if you don't really make the resolution, or if things come up and happen and things just don't go the way you thought they would go, it doesn't mean that what you actually wanted from it is lost. You just have to find other ways to get there. So that's a good exercise because it builds up on the rigid, okay, this is what I want to achieve, and I either do it or I don't. And instead looks at the nuances of, okay, yeah, but if we want to feel more joyful or more vital, and this way isn't working, where can we pivot throughout the year? Okay, wonderful. So I've got 2 more prompts here for us, and then I'll send you on your way into this new year. So I was just talking about the feelings, like how you want it to make you feel. And here's a lovely trick. So let's say, okay, you want to move your body more, right? And you want to do that so that you feel more balanced. Um, a lovely thing you can do is sit down and say, okay, yes, this goal makes me feel balanced. What other things make me feel that way? So sit down with your goal and figure out, well, we just did that, like how would it make you feel to achieve this? And then find a lot of different other activities and things that already make you feel that, so that you can start getting that success feeling of having achieved that goal into your daily life already. And that is very motivating. That makes everything feel more possible. And honestly, to me, that is sort of what a lot of whether a goal comes true or not depends on, whether or not it still feels possible. Because if you're in October and you know when you're completing it, but it still feels possible, you're still going to walk closer to it. You're still going to be taking the steps. But if it no longer feels possible in February, it's much easier to dismiss it. So those feelings, connecting to what those feelings are and how you can already incorporate them into your daily life is super helpful. So okay, we have that example. You want to feel more balanced in yourself. What else makes you feel balanced? Maybe just listening to some calm music for 5 minutes a day, sitting down with it, those kind of ideas. So for the next journal prompt, think about, well, you have either, if you're a quick writer, you have it for each category already. If you pause the video like a smart person, you have it for each category already. In that case, do either pause the video again or go over each category, and look at the feeling that you wrote down for that, and think of a couple of things, maybe three other activities that make you feel that, and then think about how you can incorporate those into this new year and into your daily schedule. And for that one, I'm going to give us 5 more minutes. All right. If I can figure out this timer. Yes. Okay. Lovely. And one and a two. Um. So 1 second. 1, 2, 3. Figure out how you can incorporate those feelings. Okay. Oh, and that is prompt 9 now, I think. 9, 10. You number them probably better than I did. Okay. Oops. I'm very sorry. I briefly lost you here. Not you. I lost you over here. Uh, do make sure to refresh it in case. Oops. All right. All right. Lovely. So we're actually to our last journal prompt now. Yeah, it's interesting because one of the things writing down the emotions really gives you ideas for a lot of little helpful habits and boosts that you can give yourself throughout the day. Um, I One of the things right now that I wrote down for publishing the book is I would feel very, might not be the best word, but capable, like I can do it. And I realized that a good thing to support that is to track my accomplishments throughout the day and track those little things I do, because that's going to make me feel more like I can do things. So that's as an example, and that's giving me an idea of another healthy habit to incorporate. So yeah, if you want to share any of them, once again, take as much time with these exercises as you actually want to take, because you can really go into depth with them here. But one thing I did with these emotions, I did this in last April as well, and I kind of wrote them all on a piece of paper and hung them up in my room and gave them to me as examples of as reminders of, like, okay, this is where I want to get, and how can I feel like I'm already there. So that's another little idea for that. Yeah, all right. So now we're going to go to the last one, which is making these actionable. For these goals, for each one of them, write down the first 1 to 3 steps that you need to take to get there. Now, if you're someone who really likes planning and has a planner and likes really spreading this out, you either already did that, or you're going to do it and going to go over all the steps. But if that gets overwhelming, just start with the first 1 to 3 steps. Just something that can get you already moving. And then when you have those steps, take a second and think about why you're absolutely capable of achieving them. That might sound a little bit silly, but the new year always has kind of a can-do energy. A little less for me this year, just because the year was so exhausting. So I think I need a little bit longer of a start to get into that can-do energy. But for a lot of people, and in past years definitely, it feels like it's easier to hit the ground running and immediately go into it. But once after a couple of days, once that momentum kind of loses itself a little bit, it's good to have reminders of why you're still able to take those steps and why you're still able to do them and why you will be able to do it. So, for example, that's not the one career goal I picked, but it's definitely going to be one of my goals, is to finish my current work in progress. And one of those steps would be to write. Okay, this is not, my schedule is a little complicated right now, but an easy step of that would be write 500 words a day. Now, or let's say 1,000 words a day. Now that might seem intimidating, and maybe it seems undoable to sit down every day and write it. So this is the moment now where you sit to yourself and say, well, I've done it before. I already wrote all of this. I already had the schedule like that. I know this and this is the time of the day where I will put aside for it. So I know I can achieve it through that. So that's what we're gonna do with these first 1 to 3 steps. We're going to look at them and say, hey, I know even if it gets intimidating, those are the ways that we can still make them work. And yeah, that's what we're gonna do today. That's what we're gonna do now as our last prompt. And this prompt is sort of an open-ended one, because chances are you probably have more than one goal for each of these categories. And if you do, you can just sit down and do that, break down those encouragements. Why can I do those steps for each one of them? So I'm gonna give us 5 minutes just to get started on that, and then we'll have a quick goodbye, and then you can finish that on your own term, in your own time, on your own time, on your own time. All right, lovely. So let's bring up the timer once more. I found the blue one again. Okay, and 1, 2, 3, go. All right, that was the little noise here. Okay, so that's the end of the journal prompts. Thank y'all for being here with me, and if you're rewatching this, great, good job, good job. No, good on you for sitting down and doing something to kind of clear out all the chaos of 2020, clear your mind a little bit, and get focused on what really matters, on some positives, and on what you want to get from this year. So I encourage you to keep exploring these prompts after the stream and go a little bit deeper into some areas. I do have also a visualization, a guided visualization meditation. If you're interested in that, I just contact me and I'll be very happy to send that to you. Yeah, so let's all take a deep breath together. We got this. We have this year. The world has your back. You have your back. You're strong. We're ready to receive whatever the year has to offer, and whatever it is, we can handle it, and it will get better. All right, wonderful. Just yeah, let me already say goodbye to Instagram. Thank you all for being here. That was my first live. If you wanna watch the whole thing again, it will be on my Instagram account, but also on my YouTube account. So if you haven't checked that out yet, please do. Have a great new year. Happy New Year. Okay. Yes. All right. And for you all, let me say real quick. So next week, due to due to unforeseen circumstances, due to some chaos, I'm not entirely sure if I'll be able to have a new video up. If I don't, I'll probably do a writing stream again, just so that we can all see each other, and I don't want to disappear from the earth for a few weeks. So this is probably going to be a stream, probably not a video, but it's really hard to predict right now how next week's going to go for me. So I don't know. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for taking this time for yourself. It's so good to just look at this not from look at resolutions not from a, oh god, I have to achieve all of that, but from a more celebratory, grateful perspective and standpoint. And I'm really glad that I could share that all with you. Do let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this and if you want more videos like this one, or more streams like this one. I do have more topics that we can journal over. Normal writing live streams are gonna come again soon as well. I just wanted to offer something to start this new year well. All right. Happy New Year.